Hi friends, my name is Swami Malhotra from Your Indian Guru, and in this video guys, we are going to be taking a look at the layers and the other tools in Photoshop. So let's get started. Guys, in the last tutorial I showed you the starting 4 tools, which were the crop and all those tools. So let's get on to the next all the other tools. So I'm going to get my toolbar like that. Okay, so now guys, I'm also going to be talking about the workspace in this tutorial. So let's get on to workspace first. So I'm going to just open a new project here. Let's go to custom, and guys, I mostly do this. You can do 1280 by 720 and keep the resolution to 300. And here's the color profile. If you don't see the color profile, you're just going to click on advanced here, and here's your color profile. Now I'm going to be working with Pro Photo RGB, and you're going to hit save preset, and you can just save it. Okay, hit OK. So once we have that document, actually that is for the further steps, but right now let's get started on the workspace. So on the top right, you must be seeing a box with written as essentials, and if you just click on this arrow, you will see all of these. These are all workspaces. As you guys may see, this is a UIG workspace. This is not included with the Photoshop, so you will not see this. I've made this workspace especially for me, for whatever I do. So let's get started on arranging our workspace. So first of all, what you're going to do is go to this drop down menu and go to new workspace. Now I'm going to be keeping this tutorial workspace, and you're going to click keyboard shortcuts and menus, both of those, not toolbar, actually toolbar as well, all of these three. Hit save, and now you are on your tutorial workspace. So now you are free to do anything here. Now what you are going to do is, you see this, let me just make it a little bit more clear. If you guys want to see a little more clear, I'm going to get the black interface, and as you guys can see, here's a layers tab here. You're going to drag this tab to any part of the screen, and then you're going to drag the channels, then paths. So once you have those, you see this long color thing, drag this color and drag this swatches. So once you have that, you're just going to click on this history and drag it here, and what you're going to do is close it. You do need properties, keep it with you, and you do not need the device preview, so drag it out and close. Once you do that, now you're going to drag the adjustments out and the styles out. Now what you're going to do is close the styles. We do not need the styles. Now guys, I think you should get from here, you should get the brush, which will also include the brush presets. You're going to separate both of them like that. So next what you should get is, what is that? Actually, you don't need anything. Those are pretty good. Now what you're going to do, these looks really like confusing. So what you're going to do is drag the color into swatches, drag the properties into, actually let me show you how I did that again. You drag the color and you place it in there until you see this blue square, and you release the button and it comes there. Then same for the properties, you see the blue square, release it, and adjustments as well, same thing. So then you're going to keep it at one side. Now what you're going to do is close channels. No, actually we need channels. We do need channels. Channels is important. drag the channels to layers, then paths into layers the same way, then brush into layers, and brush presets into layers, and probably keep it like that. That looks a lot more better. And one more thing that I will suggest you guys is to go to window, then find navigator. Navigator helps a lot, guys. It absolutely helps a lot. Once you have the navigator, you're going to drag the histogram here and close the histogram. Now you're going to put the navigator below the layers panel, and until you see this blue line, release it. Then now you're going to drag both of those. Now they are joined together, so they are going to move together. Now you're going to place the same way, and drag it to the very right until you see this blue line, release. Now you can actually, because most people do not use that much of a big workspace, so you can drag it out if you want. I always drag it out because I like to. So guys, I'm going to go back to my regular interface, which is this one. Now check this one, guys. I told you that I'm going to use this gray one, but I'm going to use either this one or this one. I don't like this one, I like this one. So let me just decrease the brightness of this thing a bit. Just a minute, guys. There we go. Now actually guys, if you hear that long cracking noise, it's actually the lightning outside. It's heavily raining outside, and I do not know why does it rain. So what was I talking about is, you can go back to interface and you want to keep this dark one, just because I just thought about it for many days, and I finally found that this one is much better. So I'm going to be working with this. And what you can actually do is, you do not need that much of swatches. If you have that much of swatches, then you can keep this like that. But what I mostly do is drag these layers upward. You don't want to cover the swatches, just the ending point. And you can drag the navigator a little bit down like that, so you have a little bit more space for those things. Let's go back there, navigator a little bit back. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about layers. So what are layers? First of all, we are going to create a scene with layers. So as I told you in the last episode, you wanna open the lock first, just because it's good. So now you wanna rename this. I'm doing this just because I want to name it BG, so that it's a little bit easier for you guys. Now what we are going to do is, first of all, let's say hit G on your keyboard, which will either get you to the gradient tool or the paint bucket tool. You want to go to the gradient tool and double click on this. Now you want to choose any of the gradients. So I'm going to choose the default one, and I'm going to change the colors to any of the colors you want. You can change them to any color you want, like that. So once we have that, I'm going to drag this. Actually, I'm going to hold shift and drag this upward, so that we have the gradient like that. So once we have that, that's our background layer. Now we can apply a lock to that. I accidentally just asked you guys not to apply a lock, but you should apply a lock. Now you're going to hit Control Shift N. That is the shortcut for a new layer. Once you press that, you are just going to name this layer any name. So let's keep it layer 1 only. I like layer 1. Then what you're going to do is, just go to B for brush tool, and make anything. So for example, here's another shortcut for you guys. Hit Control Alt and your right mouse button, and drag the brush outwards and inwards. If you drag it from left and right, it will choose the diameter and the size of the brush. And if you drag it upwards and downwards, upwards is for softness, and lower hardness. It makes the brush softer, and the bottom is for harder. So I'm going to get a very soft brush here, and about this size. There we go. Now what you're going to do is lightly just touch a bit of that black, touch a bit of black, touch a bit of black. So we can just name this corners. Okay, actually that's good. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the dabs of black here. So again, Control Shift N, guys. These are some of the shortcuts that are going to really help you to like work faster in Photoshop, very fast. I use a lot of Photoshop shortcuts and some shortcuts that I've made myself in Photoshop. So we are going to create a new layer like that, and this time it's going to be a text layer. So press T on the keyboard and hit anywhere. So for now I'm just going to select a font that most of you guys will be having, because I have like 50 to 60 new fonts I have myself. So for example, let's get our Arial font here, and I'm going to type in yes, tutorial, yes. So once we have that, I'm going to select a very dark black color, which is the most black. We're going to hit Control T and hit Shift. Now this is very important. Hit Shift and Alt. I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to also show you what happens with Alt. So with Shift, it drags it with the same center point. But if you don't hit Shift, it's going to like even do this. So to prevent that, you are just going to hit Shift, and if you wanted to make it from the center, you're going to hit Shift and Alt together and then move it. So it moves it from the center. So like that, and I'm going to change the direction of it. Guys, one more thing. This is pretty handy. Most people do not know it. If you see this hand tool, here's a rotate view tool. The shortcut is R. Even if you have the hand tool here, if you go to the move tool and press R, it will give you the other tool, rotate view tool. So what you can do with this is rotate the canvas as per you want. This will not affect the direction of the image. This will only this is made for people's convenience, so that like some people like to work in a little bit tilted canvas, so you can work like that. So if you hit Shift, it will move it in 15-degree gaps. So here's the correct one. There we go. So once we have that layer, I think these three are good. So what happens with layers is, for example, if I choose this corners layer and I try to move it, only the corners move, as you guys can see. Nothing else moves but the corners, and it can help you a lot of times. It really helps me. And one more thing, guys, this is pretty important. This is really important. What you are going to do is just click on the tutorial layer and hit Control Shift N for a new layer, and type in pick. Okay, pick. Now what you're going to do is hit U on the keyboard and get a rectangle tool, and you want to sketch a rectangle like that, which is you can color it any color you want. I'm going to color it yellow like that one. So what happens is it moves a single layer like this thing, and right now this is above this, so it is hiding the text layer. If I bring the pick underneath the tutorial, now the tutorial is above that, so you can add those things. And if I keep it at the very bottom, it is not even visible, because it can be only visible if I remove the background layer. I mean, if I just click on this eye, which is going to make it invisible. So it's going to do like that. So back there, okay. And one more thing, guys. If you if you have lot of layers and many times people get confused, so what you can actually do is right click on the layer, and here are a lot of options for colors. You can give any color you want to it. So for example, if I give red to it, it gives me red here, so I can identify it. So yes, red is for a text layer, so you can keep those if you want. I mostly do not do that. Another thing, if you want to group many layers, um, group. What is it? You can have two options. If you want to merge two layers into one layer, you can also do that. What you can actually do is hit Control and Control select two layers or three layers, whatever you want, and hit Control E. So that will for me it did tutorial and text together. So what this will do is it will move the both of the layers together, so it's one solid layer now. What I can actually do is hit Control Z to get that. So what is a group, you ask? A group is, for example, if I just select all of those, you can actually, one of the shortcuts for selecting many of them is select the top one and hit shift, and you're going to hit the last one, and it selects them automatically. Now you're going to hit Control G for a group. Now what a group does, it is it organizes it in groups. If you have a lot of layers, like if I open this group, I have many layers. Whenever I want, for example, if I have this group one selected and I move it, it's going to move the whole thing together. Actually, let me show you guys. If I just release this lock here, I can move this whole thing together. So that's the advantage of groups. So guys, I've done much of layers. Now um, let's go on to the other tools which we had to do. So we had covered till the crop tool. Now is the eyedropper tool next. What the eyedropper tool does, it just selects the color. I mean, yeah. Sorry for that, guys. It samples the color and it drops it to the foreground, so the color does not get lost. For example, if I get this color, um, so let me show you guys. We're going to make a little bit change here. I'm going to go to the gradient tool. I'm going to select this color, and again at this top I'm going to select this color, but a little bit out of that. I did a little bit too much, like that. So, and if I do it here, what the, I mean, what is this? I think I need to rasterize it. Yes, I do need to. So if I hit shift and drag it like that, so you guys saw that? I just did that. So if I go to the eyedropper tool now, which is the shortcut is I, and I select this color, as you guys can see, the color changes. And if you want a little bit more constant coloring, you can actually go here. It shows point sample. You can go to 3x3 average. I would suggest 31x31 average. That's the best setting that you can get for it. So that's our eyedropper tool covered. Next is the color sampler tool. It samples the color and gives you all the information about it. So for example, if I choose this color, as you guys can see, it gave me all the information about the or the color. So it gives me in RGB, CMYK, yes, RGB, CMYK, and all the other scales. So that's pretty important. I mean, pretty nice of a tool. So you can just copy those settings and paste them in your foreground or background color, however you want it. So next is the ruler tool. What the ruler tool does is it makes guidelines for you like that. If I hit straighten layer, it's going to straighten it out, guys. If I just zoom out a bit and I hit Control T and I just resize this layer, as you guys can see, it is completely straight, even though the other layers are a little bit tilted. So that's the ruler tool. I do not know much about the node tool, so I'm not going to be covering that in this tutorial. So guys, I'm going to be covering all of these tools in the next tutorial, just because I cannot do them right now, so I'm going to do them in the next tutorial. So please wait for that, and let's move on to the brush tool here. So the first is brush tool here, which is a lot important. What you can actually do with the brush tool, I showed you in the starting of the video only. If you click this button, which looks like a folder, it will give you the brush. For me, it's the workspace. In the workspace, as I showed you guys, the workspace, you can even make your own brushes. For example, if I want to make a brush here, I go to scattering and I hit spacing. I want a little bit more spacing here, and I give it a little bit more hardness, like that much. And I go to noise. We want a little bit of noise, but not too much, like that much. And then I go to color dynamics. Here. What I'm going to do is hue jitter, get it to 70%. Now what this will do is it will increase the jitter, I mean hue of the thing. Saturation jitter also to be kept at 70, like that. Let's now go to what was that? Actually, this is pretty good only. Now what I'm going to do is select another good of foreground color, so the purest form of red. Once we have that, if I just do it like that, as you guys can see, it makes like spotches on there of different colors. That looks pretty interesting to me, as you guys can see. So that's basically how to create a brush in the brush tool. I'm just going to delete this brush here pretty easily. There we go. Now what the brush tool essentially does is, it obviously by the name you can recognize it. It allows you to paint in a drawing, but it does a lot more than that. In a brush tool you have a lot of like options there, and even if they are not enough for you, you can go to the internet. If I go to Edge, for Microsoft Edge, and guys, sorry for that, my internet is not working right now, so I cannot search for that, but you can go to the internet and search for let me just see this, guys, just a minute. Is it working? Okay, it's not working. So right now it's not working, guys. So but it has a lot of options. You can choose some soft brushes like those ones, and there are hard brushes like this one. And I don't like the hard brushes because I like gradual work, which is with the soft brushes. So that's basically the brush tool. And you can, as I told you in the starting, you can hit Control Alt and the right mouse button for the size of the brush, and up and down for the hardness of the brush. So that's our brush tool covered here. Next tool is pencil tool. This also looks almost same. You can even increase the size of this with the method that I told you. This is also the same guys, but a little bit different. So for example, if I write my name, it's not that precise, but you can, I don't use this tool a lot, and I've not used both of these tools guys, so I'm not going to cover them. They do not come a lot of handy, but they are useful. So I will look on the internet and search what do they do, and then I will surely tell you how they work. So next tool is clone stamp tool. I'm not going to cover it in this video, present video. It's going to be in the next video. So guys, that's basically it for this video, but I'm going to show you the eraser tool and the paint bucket tool. So if I go to the eraser, the shortcut is E. It basically erases as the name suggested. You can do the same with that. The eraser also has hardness and softness. So if I show this to you guys here, you see this, I'm going to get a really soft brush with no hardness at all, and it runs so smooth, and it does not get really like you have to press it a little bit of times to get it actually work. But with the hard brush, what you can actually do is it rubs in a second. So if you want a gradual one like I do, I never use a lot of hardness for anything. As you guys can see, that's really gradual. That's not like looking very straightforward. So I really like that. Next tool is background eraser tool. It erases your background. So if I choose my background here, okay, I'm going to open my layer here, and it erases the background basically. As you guys can see, it erased my whole background. Actually, it is erasing it right now. So that's basically the background eraser tool. Here's the magic eraser tool, which I have still not discovered what does it do. The magic eraser tool, I'm going to cover that in the next video. Next is the gradient tool. The gradient tool is basically a gradient that you choose here. So for example, if I choose a red gradient here and any other color here, white, and you make it like that, so it just covers the area you asked it to, like that. So the next one is the paint bucket tool. Now what the paint bucket tool does is it is like the other tools but a little bit different. So if I hit U and I make a square, so right now it's filled with a maroonish red, and if I go to the paint bucket tool and I go here and select yellow, okay, I have to rasterize the layer, then it's going to work. So if I just do that, it just does that. And one more shortcut guys, if you hit X, it will replace your background and foreground color, so you can do this. So that's the paint bucket tool. So that's it for this video guys. I will meet you in the next video. Till then,